So, just to give everybody an idea as to what is adjacent to my property, this is my neighbor, and on one side, and they have leased out their land to a local farmer who grows potatoes, because this is a very large potato growing area where I live. And it's either hay, oats, canola, potatoes, and I'm sure there's all kinds of other things, but that's all I can think of off the top of my head. But anyway, this becomes a huge field of potato farms, or potatoes. And if you look, there is a hydro line that runs through here. And where the trees are at the very back, just beyond that tree line is the river. And in a previous video, my husband and I went for a walk. It was our last winter walk, and you could see the river. It's the same river. So that is beyond my property, but it's easy accessible. They don't mind if I walk through and go to the river. I used to go more often than I do now, mainly because when they're farming, you don't want to be walking through the field, and they spray the field and everything else, and so I tend to avoid walking through here during the warm months. But I do snowshoe back here, which is a good snowshoe hike. If I go all the way to the back, I'm usually gone for about an hour, hour and a half, and sometimes 2 hours depending on how far I go. So I just wanted to give you an idea. If I back up here, which I'm going to do right now, this is the fence post. This is the fence right here, and this post in particular is where my property starts. So this bush back here, part of it is on my property. My property is, it's not square. Why they do that, I have no idea. But all this in here is my property. And then of course over here, all through there is my property. So it's an area we don't use. I mean, we still have a lot of grass to cut, as you can see. So the fact that I've got this shrubbery here, actually, I don't mind. Less grass to cut and maintain. And then this is our old wood pile from when we used to have a lot of bonfires. We used to keep it back here. I started pulling some of the logs out, so it's easier to get at. But back there, this fence here is the back of my property. Beyond that is my neighbor on the opposite side of me. And it used to be a hay field when he had horses and cattle and all that stuff. But he's retired as a farmer now, so he no longer has any animals. So the field beyond this one is now overgrown. He's picked and chosen the trees that he wants to keep. I don't walk back there during the summer months because that is ideal habitat for bears. The bears gravitate to that field because a lot of those shrubs and trees are chokecherries, and they love chokecherries, which is what I have along my fence here. Chokecherries. And once they've eaten everything back there, then they move over and they come into my yard and help themselves to the berries. I've been fortunate that I haven't been out when a bear has shown up. I've been in the house, which is good because you don't want to be near a bear when they're eating. That happened to me once, picking blueberries, and I swore it would never happen again. So these are chokecherries here. They're not all chokecherries, but most of them are. They flower. They have a nice, beautiful, fragrant flower. And yeah, so, oh, this is a tree I don't want. I don't know if I can, no, I can't pull that out. I'm gonna have to cut that. We're waiting for a good rain to knock down the rest of the dirt from the mole mounds, because they did a lot of damage this year. Anyway, things are coming along slowly but surely. Everything is budding, and oh look, dandelions. Not as many as we used to have, thank goodness. But I mean, we're not against dandelions, don't get me wrong. We understand it's the first food for bees, and we get that. But when you have fields like this whole field will be full of wildflowers. Absolutely full. And some of them grow as tall as this fence. It's beautiful. It's nice and fragrant when they all come up and they're in bloom. It is beautiful. It's nice to look at. So I don't worry too much about the bees, because there's always lots of flowers, not to mention my perennials when they're in bloom. The bees like them as well. They're all bee friendly. And yeah, so there's a little update about my property. And the grass is starting to turn green everywhere. I've already cut the grass once, and I'll have to do it when I get back. And I'm afraid when I get back, it's probably going to be about a foot tall. So anyway, all right, bye for now.